I am Gregory Hallows, and this is Preserve Halloween Podcast. So I want to welcome you all back to the show. It's been a while since I recorded something. I told you I was taking a break. Did not intend for it to take as long as it did, but I am switching focuses a little on the podcast. I'm going to discover, explore, deep dive into some of my favorite Halloween music, and starting off with one of my favorite songs of all time that came out in the early 60s. And the reason I chose this song to start with is because it's by Mississippi based artist, which, you know, whenever people ask where I live or where I'm from, some people, not a lot, because it doesn't, you can do pretty much anything on the internet now. They're kind of surprised that I'm from Mississippi and love Halloween so much. I'm not sure why, but I have had, I guess some people, I don't know. It's just a face they make, I guess. But like I said, welcome back to the show. On this podcast, we are going to step into a house. A crooked old house, one that creaks in the wind, a house where strange things happen after dark. But this isn't any old haunted house. This is a haunted house built from rhythm and blues, swampy New Orleans voodoo, Mississippi rockabilly, and one of the most unusual novelty songs ever to become a hit record. This, of course, is the song Haunted House. This ghost story was recorded in 1964 by a Mississippi singer with the wonderful name of Jumpin' Simmons. The song would climb the charts, would create a cult following, and become one of the earliest rock songs to embrace spooky storytelling. We want to talk about the Mississippi roots of Gene Simmons. We want to talk about the New Orleans songwriter who created the song, which is news to me. I did not know that when I was researching the song. The recording session that turned what started as a joke into a hit. And the cultural moment when monsters, ghosts, and rock music collided. There's actually a really good book about the music of, I guess, monster music and, in the 50s and 60s when a lot of these worlds collided, and how this strange little song has haunted music ever since. So, dim your lights, pull your blanket a little closer. Somewhere out there's a haunted house all the time. It's 1031, 365, and someone will be living in it. So, before the haunted house, there was a kid, a little boy in Mississippi. He was born Gene Simmons in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1933. I think he was born outside of Tupelo. I think Itawamba County is the actual specifics, but we'll just say Tupelo for now. And that is the same town that gave us Elvis Presley. Tupelo was huge tradition of music in the 30s and 40s. There was blues and juke joints. There was gospel coming out of churches. Country fiddles played at dances, and this young kid, Gene, he soaked it all in. He loved rhythm, he loved blues, he loved this wild new sound that was starting to bubble up across the South and all over the country. This was, of course, rock and roll, and by the 50s, he had developed his own stage persona. He danced, he shouted, he bounced across the stage, so people started calling him Jumpin' Gene. And the nickname stuck, and it fit perfectly. Also in the 50s, Memphis was becoming a center of musical revolution. That's where Sun Records was, and Sun Records launched the careers of Elvis, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, Jerry Lee Lewis. But Memphis had the R&B side, the raw and gritty dance floor music. And this is, kind of Jumpin' Gene Simmons, his lane, I guess. There were several small labels during this era, but success came slowly for him. He had the talent, he had the energy, but he needed that right hit song. And in 1964, that song would arrive. There was a guy he understood strange music. Before he was famous as a piano man of New Orleans, his name was simply Mac Rebennack. He was a songwriter, a studio musician, a musical chameleon, and in the early 60s, he was writing songs for artists across the South. Some were blues, some were rock. But one day, he wrote something very unusual. It was a funny little ghost story about a man moving into a house, and then things start happening strangely. Chains would rattle, doors would slam, footsteps would echo, and suddenly he realized this house is haunted. But instead of running away, he decides to stay because rent is not cheap. It still isn't cheap. This house was spooky, but it was also fun. And when he wrote this song, Rebennack knew it had potential. Now he needed to find the perfect singer for this song. Producer Stan Kessler heard the demo and knew exactly who should record it. He had someone in mind, and that was Jumpin' Gene Simmons because he thought he had the right voice. It's a little bit gritty, a little bit theatrical, and just playful enough to sell this ghost story as humor. So in 1964, they brought him into the studio, and this session took place in Memphis. They kept the arrangement simple, little rockabilly guitar, some punchy drums, walking bass. But the secret ingredient was the attitude. Jumpin' Gene did not just sing the song, he performed it. He shouted, he growled, he laughed. He told the story like a man who had truly seen ghosts. And the lyrics of the song painted a picture. I just moved in my new house today. Moving was hard, but I got squared away. So everything seems normal, right? At first. And then suddenly, I saw something that chilled me to the bone. He saw ghosts, there was chains, footsteps in the dark. But he shrugged it off because the rent was still cheap. And that was the magic of the song. It was funny, it was scary, it was rock and roll. All things that at the time wasn't a big thing yet. When Haunted House was released in 1964, something very surprising happened. It caught on, the song climbed the charts, it reached number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100, and it made it one of the biggest novelty rock songs of the decade. Listeners loved it because it was different. When pop music at the time was polished and polished and polished and polished, Haunted House felt wild, it felt weird, it was chaotic. It sounded like a ghost story told at a southern roadhouse. And then by the mid-60s, this was the perfect time for a song like this. Monsters were everywhere. Television had the Addams Family on, the Munsters. Kids loved spooky humor. There was comic books at the time that were filled with ghosts, like EC Comics, all the really awesome comic stuff. Halloween was starting to become a bigger celebration, and rock music was beginning to experiment with this horror imagery. So in many ways, Haunted House helped pioneer the Halloween rock novelty song before Bobby Pickett recorded Monster Mash, way before Michael Jackson put out Thriller. And here's the thing. And I'm not avoiding this because I was waiting till this moment to talk about it. Jumpin' Gene Simmons is the inspiration for Kiss's Gene Simmons. Had nothing to do with each other. The name overlapped, I guess, confused some music fans for a while. One of the guys that named Gene Simmons sang about ghosts, and the other one dressed like a demon and had an insanely ridiculous tongue. But Gene Simmons from Kiss named himself after Jumpin' Gene Simmons because he liked him so much. So I forgot to also mention that guy that we mentioned that wrote the song. He goes by a name now better known as Dr. John. So there's some history. That's the part I didn't know about the song. I did not know Dr. John wrote it. So over the decades, what happened to the song? It never disappeared. It became a cult classic. It's in every Halloween playlist I could think of. Rockabilly fans love it. Every October, a whole new generation of fans discovers it. Other artists began covering the song. Garage bands, blues musicians, even country performers. I think there's a performance by Ray Stevens of this song. Because it's a timeless story. A guy moves into a house, ghosts try to scare him, but he doesn't want to leave. And the reason why this song still works is it's because it's simple. It's a story. Humans love stories in song. especially spooky ones. It's basically a campfire tale. There's suspense, there's humor, there's mystery, there's our stubborn hero who does not want to give in to the circumstances, and there's that southern storytelling that makes it feel authentic. You can, imagine this being told on the front porch in Mississippi, and I can attest to that. So, speaking of Mississippi, the connection with the state, there's so many musicians that have come from this state. Blues legends, country singers, rock people, and Gene Simmons is part of that lineage. He comes from Tupelo. He comes from where Elvis, there's people that make the trip from all over the world to go see where Elvis's childhood home is and where he bought his first guitar. And, there's so much history here. So I hope that they mention at least Gene Simmons' part in the history of Tupelo. Gene Simmons created one of the best rock songs about ghosts ever. As a Halloween lover, I absolutely love this song. He is a very important figure in the history of Halloween music. So again, let's go through this story. A man moves into a house. There's cheap rent. Seems like a nice neighborhood. Everything seems fine. Nighttime comes, chains rattle, doors slam. Footsteps echo, but instead of running away, he just laughs because some houses are worth haunting. So he sticks around, and he makes a story about it. So remember this. We have a songwriter from New Orleans. We have a singer from Tupelo, a haunted house. What else do you need for one of the best songs ever? And hopefully it's on your Halloween playlist. And there are more than one version of the song. There are some covers. So check all those out. I'm going to look up some of the list of people who have covered this song and try to make you a list of that. I'm also going to put in the notes of this podcast the book that I absolutely love about monster music. And I'm excited to be back. I don't know what song I'm going to tackle next, but whatever it is, I hope you add it to your playlist. I will eventually, at the end of all this, deep dive into, well, I don't feel like it's a deep dive. It's like diving into a shallow pool. I'm just giving you enough information to make you want to seek out this song yourself and listen to it. I'll almost guarantee you that you'll like it, but who knows what the next song will be. But until next time, stay strange, stay curious, stay spooky, and always preserve Halloween.